Bronx at 3rd Avenue, the damage more than done. That's why it's an hour and a half into the upper level of the George Washington Bridge and 50 minutes into the inbound lower level of the bridge. Lincoln Tunnel 30 out, 50 minutes in. Holland Tunnel 50 out, 30 minutes in from the Turnpike and about 40 minutes in from 1 and 9. Still with an accident to the westbound Belt Parkway at Pennsylvania Avenue. Delays now almost an hour there, coming over from Francis Lewis Boulevard. Bloomberg 11:30 3-day weather forecast. Tonight showers overnight, low 35 to 40. Saturday rainy, windy, maybe some wet snow, an early high of 45 to 50, then temperatures fall. Sunday sunny and breezy, high 35 to 40. Monday partly sunny, high 50 to 55. Mostly sunny in New York with 46 degrees. With the best ride in and out of the city, I'm Ed Kalegi, Bloomberg 11:30. Bloomberg Sound On continues.
Broadcasting live from our nation's capital, Bloomberg 99.1. To New York, Bloomberg 11:30. To Boston, Bloomberg 106.1. To San Francisco, Bloomberg 960. To the country, Sirius XM Channel 119. And around the globe, the Bloomberg Business app and BloombergRadio.com. This is Bloomberg Sound On with Joe Matthew.
We know what the war in Ukraine has meant for the Russian economy, but we don't talk a lot about what's happening to business in Ukraine, unless it involves the huge spike in wheat prices or other commodities we hear a lot about. Coming up, we're going to learn more about it from Morgan Williams, President and CEO of the U.S.-Ukraine Business Council. But first, we check on the markets. The week is mercifully over, Charlie.
Indeed, at least for the bulls, Joe. 2 losing weeks in a row for the S&P 500 index, the Dow, the S&P, NASDAQ, all declining today. Well, certainly inflation, a major factor for consumers, for investors, and yes, Joe Matthews' world, politicians just getting word right now that Uber is adding a fuel surcharge to help drivers with high gasoline prices. Today, another move higher for West Texas Intermediate crude, up 3.1%, 109.33 for a barrel of WTI. Equities lower, late day selling, end of the lows of the day. S&P today down 55, drop of 1.3%. The Dow down 229, down 7 tenths. NASDAQ today was down by 2.2%. 10-year yield 1.98%. Spot gold 19.88 the ounce. And again, crude worth repeating, up today by 3.1%. I'm Charlie Pellet. That Joe Matthew. This is a Bloomberg Business Flash.
Hey, Charlie, we thank you. We see headlines every day on major companies dropping their business, cutting ties, divesting from Russia. Coca-Cola to Goldman Sachs. A lot of companies, though, still are winding down business or still have clients or customers to protect in Ukraine. And getting their people in or out has become a major undertaking. Joining us to talk more about that and the impact overall that the war is having on Ukrainian business and the economy, we welcome Morgan Williams, the President and CEO of the U.S.-Ukraine Business Council. Morgan, I have a lot of questions for you. I want to start with the most immediate, and that is, of course, the security situation. How many business leaders are working to get people in or out of the country right now, and to what end are they going to get it done?
Well, there's a huge number of international businesses that have been in Ukraine for 20, 25 years, including the United States. The United States probably has a couple hundred huge businesses, lots of them in the Fortune 500. They mostly employ people in Ukraine, and so their number one goal is to protect their employees. Some have several thousand. Some of their top people have left Ukraine or went to Western Ukraine, but the safety of their employees and some of their key assets, big priority for them. They've been working on it.
Well, I'll tell you, this has become, from what I understand, its own cottage industry here. Security firms moving people around the world are incredibly busy at the moment in Ukraine. Is it still possible to get in and out?
Well, yeah, there was still some planes going in and out, but it's very difficult, and people have to get out to Western Ukraine in order to get out. And most of them that wanted out have already left.
Yeah.
So it's getting worse every day.
Boy, the window's closing here. Obviously, Morgan, give us a sense of what this means for the Ukrainian economy. We hear about commodity prices spiking, wheat and other commodities that are at the heart of Ukraine's economy. Will there be anything left? How long will it take to rebuild from this?
Well, we've got President Putin undertaking a horrible, unthinkable, heartbreaking invasion with no justified reason. He's basically a dictator out of control, and they're just destroying the infrastructure. They're attacking businesses, they're attacking people and residents. So Ukraine has a huge industry of agriculture, tourism, and manufacturing, and it seems like he's going after the destruction of the whole country.
How did business in Ukraine prepare for this? Were things shut down before it began, or are they still trying to operate?
Well, most of them were still trying to operate. Because, as I said, 99% of all the people there that work for the U.S. companies are Ukrainian. And, they're producing food, they're doing manufacturing, they're trying to keep the grocery stores open, keep the drug stores open. So they've all been doing everything possible to keep business going, to support the heroic people of Ukraine.
What does the government here in the U.S. need to do that's not being done already? We heard about relief money approved this week by Congress. The president's been largely focused on cracking down on the Russian economy. But is this just a humanitarian story at this point, Morgan, or does more need to be done?
Well, there's more that the United States could do, and there's a lot more they could have done in advance of this. Our military has a lot of cybersecurity capacity that they could be using. We need to provide airplanes to Ukraine. We've got to ship in more anti-tank missiles. This Putin guy doesn't really care about the sanctions. He doesn't care about the people of Russia. He wants to destroy Ukraine. He wants to take Ukraine. And so the only way to stop him right now is through military action. And the Ukraine military needs a lot some more support from the EU and from the United States. So there's a lot more the United States could do.
Morgan, I appreciate your insights today in spending some time with us. Morgan Williams, President and CEO of the U.S.-Ukraine Business Council, as we reassemble the panel with Jeannie Shanzano, Bloomberg Politics contributor, Democratic analyst, and Chapin Fay is with us, Republican strategist, founder of Lighthouse Public Affairs. What do you make of that conversation, Jeannie? It sounds to me like obviously an economy that's going to be in shambles for many years, but also a situation in which the United States could find itself in a position of providing billions more dollars in aid. We've barely scratched the surface with the $14 billion passed this week.
That's right. That is now looking like a drop in the bucket. And it was fascinating to hear what you and Morgan were talking about, because to your point, we seldom hear about those businesses over there. And when you asked him about, the issue of preparation in terms of going into this, I think one of the astonishing things for me has been, how they were trying to prepare, if they were, to handle the onslaught that the United States and much of NATO was saying was about to happen. And in some cases, it looks like, there was much more work to be done on that area.
Jason, there were calls by the U.S. State Department to get out of Ukraine starting pretty early. They began with diplomats, families, and so forth. Did we wait too late to make the full call for evacuation? With Afghanistan in our memories, a lot of people were calling for a more concerted airlift at an earlier time.
I think, hindsight is 20/20. So yes, I think we were behind on that. But I think, when you're dealing with a madman like Vladimir Putin, I mean, it's very difficult to be able to help Ukraine without actually setting off World War III. So we are sort of, as much as I want to bash President Biden for everything he does, he's sort of boxed into a corner here on how much we can do on our own. I mean, I think NATO needs to maybe step up a little bit. Maybe America can help out via NATO. But, Putin has made it very clear that, any small step that we might take, he's going to take as an act of war. I will say, I think the timing is no coincidence. I think they waited for, a president who maybe wasn't as, blusterous when it comes to this sort of thing, to be our leader. But, we're sort of in this situation now where we have to help the people of Ukraine. I mean, we have to, but How do you do it without starting World War III?
Stay where you are, Chapin and Jeannie. We'll keep the panel with us next on Sound On. I'm Joe Matthews. This is Bloomberg.
I'm Nathan Hager. Join us for Bloomberg Intelligence, providing in-depth research and data on some of the 2,000 companies and 130 industries we cover around the world. This week, the war in Ukraine's effect on airlines, plus gambling, ganja, and tech. U.S. states' next tax targets.
Bloomberg Intelligence with Alex Steele and Paul Sweeney, Saturday at noon on Bloomberg 1130, the Bloomberg Business app, and BloombergVideo.com. Bloomberg, the world is listening.
Burden LLP Accountants and Advisors presents Industry Chat with Alex Mashinsky, Director of Operational Advisory and Risk Management Services.
In today's fluid environment, it is important for every organization to reassess the operational risk. A thorough review of every phase of operation can give an organization a better understanding of the past, a firm grip on the present, and a clear vision for the future. Burden works with companies to review their current processes, evaluate their risks, and test to identify control deficiencies, all with the goal of increasing productivity, profit, and accuracy of financial reporting. If you are a business owner or the head of a family office, let Burden help protect you, your family, and your business.
For more industry chat from Burden Accountants and Advisors, visit burdenllp.com. That's BERDONLLP.com. Burden Accountants and Advisors. We listen, we solve, we do. You have the right technology to propel your firm's growth. Bloomberg Buy-Side Solutions are engineered to deliver a seamless enterprise experience. Data, analytics, trading, risk, operations. The buy side from every side. Visit Bloomberg.com/buy-side.
Interactive Brokers Global Analyst helps you find new global investment opportunities to diversify your portfolio and discover undervalued companies that may have greater growth potential. IBKR Global Analyst lets you easily compare the relative value of global stocks by region, country, or industry. Find out why smart investors choose Interactive Brokers. Try IBKR Global Analyst today at ibkr.com/GA.
Why do hedge funds and other alternative managers rely on Pershing for a highly personalized experience? Mark Alderati, a managing director of BNY Mellon's Pershing and head of Prime Services, shares how we help you consider everything.
In today's ever-evolving environment, the team at Pershing's Prime Services wants to know, what are you focused on now? Are you confident in the stability of your counterparty? Do you feel they can help you grow your business? When it comes to fundraising, do you have access to the mindset of the advisor or have what you need to navigate the ODD process? Exceptional service for our clients is at the core of what we do. Our award-winning team is just one of the benefits of working with BNY Mellon. Whether it's customized financing or securities lending solutions, BNY Mellon's Pershing is a prime broker who's committed to this business and dedicated to meeting your demands, so you can focus on growing your business and producing results for your clients.
To learn more about the unique and industry-leading solutions for hedge funds and other alternative managers, visit Pershing.com. Pershing LLC, member FINRA, NYSE, SIFIC.
Bloomberg is helping train and integrate recipes into music.
Bloomberg is a member of the Tent Partnership for Refugees, which supports men and women to re-enter the workforce.
Bloomberg dedicates almost all of its profits to transforming lives around the world. See how at Bloomberg.com/face-the-data.
It's 5:43 on Wall Street. Time for Bloomberg Drive Time Traffic. Every 15 minutes, twist adds to life. You can go to the Cross Bronx Expressway this time. What's up there, Ed?
Well, the good news, Joe, is that the issues on the Cross Bronx Expressway have been cleared or taken away. You've got the construction wrapped up northbound of 3rd Avenue. An accident on the southbound side coming in by the Beacon. That's done. But a lot to work through here. The inbound side of the bridge, 90 minutes upstairs, 50 minutes downstairs. And the delays as you come down from Westchester are just that. As you come down from Westchester on 95, then all the way down and around the Cross Bronx Expressway to the bridge. Manhattan's still just as slow, both sides of town, all the way on up. Word of an accident now on the FDR, and that affects traffic both ways in the 50s. Looks like the ride outbound of the Holland Tunnel, 50 minutes, 30 into the Turnpike, 40 from 1 to 9. 30 minutes out, 50 into the Lincoln Tunnel. Bloomberg 11:30, 3-day weather. Tonight, overnight showers, low 35. Tomorrow, rainy, windy, maybe some wet snow, an early high of 45 to 50. Sunday, sunny and breezy, high 35 to 40. Monday, partly sunny, high 50 to 55. 46 degrees. Skies are clear in New York. When it comes to your credit card, Discover believes in having real people available 24/7 to help answer your questions. Discover, exceptionally common sense. With the best ride in and out of the city, I'm Nick Pileggi, Bloomberg 11:30. Bloomberg Sound On continues.
Markets, headlines, and breaking news 24 hours a day at Bloomberg.com, the Bloomberg Business app, and at Bloomberg Quick Take. This is a Bloomberg Business Flash.
From Bloomberg World Headquarters, I'm Charlie Pellet. Another losing week for the U.S. stock market. The Dow, the S&P, NASDAQ all declined today. War rages in Ukraine. Stocks sold off on Wall Street. S&P lower by 55 points today, down 1.3%. Again, it was a losing week. We had the Dow down 230 points today, down 7 tenths. NASDAQ down 285, a drop of 2.2%. 10-year yield, 1.98%. Spot gold down 0.4%, 19.88 the ounce. West Texas Intermediate crude up 3.1%, 109.33 for a barrel of West Texas Intermediate crude. Again, recapping, stocks lower today, closing at the lows of the session. S&P down 55, down 1.3%. I'm Charlie Pellet. That is a Bloomberg Business Flash.
This is Bloomberg Sound On with Joe Matthew on Bloomberg Radio.
Well, so much for the talk. Another attempt at negotiations between Ukraine and Russia, if only for appearances, failed to make progress, which may not come as a surprise to you, even after Vladimir Putin said he was hearing good things. And we know this because Bloomberg spoke today exclusively with Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba. He tells Washington correspondent Anne-Marie Hordurin that nothing has changed. Here he is.
Yesterday I met with Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov in Antalya. This meeting was facilitated by the Turkish Foreign Minister. We spent an hour and a half, and there was zero progress in talks. So it's hard for me to understand what kind of progress President Putin is referring to.
That's after 90 minutes with Sergei Lavrov. 90 minutes with Sergei. It sounds like a TV movie. As we reassemble the panel, Jeannie Shamsano and Chapin Fay is with us, Republican strategist. Chapin, what do you make of the whole disinformation campaign? The way the administration has been handling it, as soon as intelligence is gathered, it is released. It's been seen as a deterrent. But is it working?
Well, it's hard to tell if it's working because there's information, there's disinformation, and in this day of 24/7 social media and communications around the clock, I mean, it has always been hard to sift through what is true and what is not. I mean, we saw that during the pandemic, where you had to search for a while to find out what was really going on. But I do think it's a very good strategy to put out the intelligence as soon as they get it. I mean, I think it is likely to succeed. I can't say for sure if it's succeeding currently.
Yeah, Jeannie, we've talked about this, and it's interesting to see it on both sides. Putin today suggesting that there's progress suddenly in talks. Is that part of some kind of a setup here, acting optimistic, down by whatever false flag operation he's about to let go?
It seems to be, and what was fascinating is that the market people seem to take that, to take Putin's word as, potentially a positive sign, until Anne-Marie's absolutely amazing interview in which we heard that there was no progress whatsoever. In fact, quite the opposite. And that people started to react to that as well. And, I think it again speaks to the fact that with Vladimir Putin, you really cannot listen to what he says. Here's a man who said right up until they entered Ukraine, they weren't going to enter Ukraine, and then he entered. And so now to say that, they're making progress on talks, I think we have to be very circumspect about feeling some kind of positive, reaction to that, because, of course, it's probably not the case, and that's what it's turned out to be.
What are we going to be looking for this weekend, Jeannie? We've gone into a couple of weekends now wondering if, for instance, this is going to be the fall of Kyiv. The Ukrainians have done an incredible job holding off Russian forces, but this is likely not going to go on forever. We've seen the direct shelling of civilian areas and some pretty tough stuff here. If Vladimir Putin is breaking up this column, as we understand, north of Kyiv, are you preparing for, should the White House be preparing people for a real assault on these downtown areas?
It should, and you know, the White House, I think, has been trying to do that. They have to do that, and I think you have to prepare people for what's likely going to be a lot of carnage over this weekend, and the pictures and the videos, which have been absolutely astounding. You know, the White House spent some time talking to TikTokers over the last few days.
Yeah.
This is where most people that I teach, most young people across the world, including in Russia, are getting their news. That's why the White House is investing time there. And you can turn on TikTok or any of these other apps. I don't think you turn it on. That's how old I am. But you can go into it, and we can all see these devastating pictures live. And so the White House does have to prepare for the reality that this could be the fall of Kyiv in the next few days. Hopefully the Ukrainians can hold on.
Well, we're going to be covering this for you throughout the weekend, so stay with Bloomberg News. Keep your eyes on the terminal. Of course, this is a story that we've got several angles on from around the world, including here in Washington, D.C. As we speak with the panel on a Friday edition of Sound On, Jeannie Shanzano is here along with Chapin Fay, and a big event to be looking forward to next week. That's the Federal Reserve meeting. Chapin, it brings inflation back to the fore. We understand there's going to be an interest rate cut. We already heard this from Jay Powell repeatedly as he tried to telegraph a quarter-point cut. But in terms of